Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we are cutting right through the noise to give you a crystal clear breakdown of the entire cryptocurrency landscape. We're taking this incredibly complex and, let's be honest, sometimes totally overwhelming world of digital currency and transforming it into digestible insights. We're looking straight at our source materials to uncover exactly how crypto functions, moving all the way from its grand philosophical vision down to its practical, everyday applications. So grab your mental notepad, dial in your focus, and let's get started. Okay, let's dive into this. Right out of the gate, our source material frames crypto as something way bigger than just a tradable asset. It's positioned as a fundamental paradigm shift. Advocates essentially argue that we are standing at the absolute dawn of a financial revolution, one that rewards knowledge, patience, and vision. In fact, it is framed in the source as being historically significant on the exact same level as the invention of the internet itself. Now, to capture both that lofty vision and the grounded reality, here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the crypto promise, under the hood with blockchain, wallets and keys, coins, tokens, and markets, and finally, security, risks, and taxes. Don't worry if that sounds like a lot. We are going to bridge the gap between all those big promises and reality step by step. All right, starting things off with Section 1, the crypto promise. Before we can really understand how all the technology actually works, we first need to understand the why. Why is there so much passion behind this movement? Well, the source material positions crypto as a literal gateway to freedom, transparency, and global opportunity for everyone. We're talking rich or poor, urban or rural, it doesn't matter. The underlying message we're seeing here is that this is a paradigm shift completely driven by people. It's decentralized and it's future-ready. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what that means in practice. Imagine wanting to send money across the globe at 3 a.m. on a Sunday. With crypto, you can do that without some middleman taking a massive cut or asking for 3 business days to process it. That is the core promise of financial inclusion and borderless transactions. People actually control their own money without banks. And when you add in the transparency and decentralization, you get the foundation that's driving massive technological innovation in entirely new spaces, like Web3 and decentralized finance, or DeFi for short. Moving right along to Section 2, under the hood, blockchain. Okay, it is time to step directly into the technical engine room. To anchor this abstract concept of digital money, we have to define its base technology. I want you to think of the blockchain kind of like a digital notary public. It's a ledger that everyone in the entire world can see, but absolutely no one can forge. It's secured by cryptography, meaning once something is written to the blockchain, it's immutable. It simply cannot be changed or tampered with. And it's exactly this unchangeable, secure base that allows cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum to exist without needing a central bank to oversee them. So say you want to trade. Well, because there isn't a central bank, you basically have 2 main paths. The first is a centralized exchange, or CEX, like Binance or WazirX. These operate under company control, and they require what's called KYC, Know Your Customer verification. Honestly, it feels a whole lot like traditional banking. On the flip side, you have a decentralized exchange, or DX, like Uniswap or PancakeSwap. These operate with absolutely zero middlemen, allowing for direct wallet-to-wallet trading that is driven entirely by code. Which brings us nicely to Section 3, understanding wallets and keys. Look, if you are going to hold digital assets, you need the right practical tools. Think of a crypto wallet as your own personal digital vault. But, and this is key, unlike a physical wallet that holds your cash, a crypto wallet actually stores your keys. We have hot wallets, which are online and super convenient, perfect for your everyday use with apps like Trust Wallet or MetaMask. And then you have cold wallets. These are offline hardware devices that offer maximum security simply because they aren't connected to the internet. Just, try not to accidentally leave it in your pocket and put it through the washing machine. So the crucial point is understanding this one absolute golden rule. You must know the difference between your public and private keys. Your public key, that's basically just your mailing address. It is perfectly fine to share this. It's like giving someone your bank account routing number so they can deposit funds. But your private key, never ever share it. Your private key is the master password to your digital vault. Literally, if someone else has it, they have your money. It's that simple. Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds into the actual market. Coins, tokens, and markets. All right, now that we have our digital vault set up and we understand the blockchain engine, it's time to explore the actual assets being traded in this highly volatile 24/7 market. And here is a very common point of confusion for beginners that our source neatly clears up: the difference between a coin and a token. A coin, like Bitcoin or Ethereum, runs on its very own native blockchain. A token, however, operates on someone else's blockchain. So, for example, Tether and Matic are tokens, meaning they utilize pre-existing blockchain networks to function.
And the ecosystem goes way beyond just basic cryptocurrencies. You have stablecoins like USDT or USDC, which are pegged to real-world assets if you want to escape the roller coaster of crypto volatility. You've got NFTs acting as unique digital collectibles. You even have utility and governance tokens that actually grant you voting rights or access within a specific project. It is just a wildly diverse landscape of digital assets out there. Welcome to Crypto Vocabulary. If you're going to spend any time at all in these markets, you're going to need to speak the language. You will definitely hear HODL, which was literally an internet typo that turned into a rallying cry to hold onto your assets during wild price swings. You're going to feel the FOMO, or fear of missing out, when prices surge. And you'll have to battle the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, when things inevitably drop. You'll also run into gas fees, which are just the transaction costs on a blockchain, and smart contracts, which are simply self-executing agreements written directly into code. Okay, time to get serious with Section 5, Security, Risks, and Taxes. Because this is where the lofty vision of crypto meets grounded reality. You simply cannot have that financial freedom we talked about without taking on the strict personal responsibility required to protect yourself. Interacting with the crypto market requires absolute adherence to security protocols and, of course, a solid understanding of the local laws that govern it. Because yes, the taxman still cometh. To put this into perspective, the source specifically highlights regulations like India's flat 30% tax on crypto profits. On top of that huge number, there's a 1% tax deducted at source per trade, plus KYC verification is mandatory. So that whole myth that crypto operates entirely outside of government oversight, you can consider that officially shattered. Furthermore, there are severe risks involved here. This is a highly volatile market. Prices can absolutely skyrocket, but they can also plummet in a matter of minutes. And because the whole thing is largely decentralized, the responsibility falls squarely on your shoulders to avoid the countless scams and hacks that are unfortunately prevalent in the space. There are no shortcuts here, and there's absolutely no customer service desk to call if you make a mistake and send money to the wrong place. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it lays out your essential digital hygiene protocol. First, always use two-factor authentication and seriously consider getting a hardware wallet for your long-term assets. Second, you have to be hyper-vigilant against phishing links. Third, start small. Seriously, do not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. And fourth, think long-term instead of chasing quick overnight profits. Which brings us to the ultimate, non-negotiable rule of crypto, DYOR, do your own research. We've mapped out the massive promise, the underlying tech, and the very real pitfalls. But in a decentralized world, the final authority is you. So the only question left is, are you ready to take control and actually do the work? Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and stay curious.